Pitch to Pro is the official podcast of Ozark United FC. This will be our platform to tell our story about the club and the special place that we call home, Northwest Arkansas. This is a journey. We want to bring you along for the ride. We'll share what's going on behind the curtain, help educate the community at large about soccer, our league, and give updates on the progress of the club along the way. Together, we'll explore and unpack our journey to professional soccer, the magic that is NWA, our community, and talk all things soccer from on the pitch to behind the scenes, telling the story of our club. Pitch to Pro podcast is proudly sponsored by podcastvideos.com. Podcastvideos.com is Northwest Arkansas's premier podcast recording studio. Equipped with industry-leading equipment, the recording studio and services save you time, money, and hassle. They are dedicated to helping you create, record, and publish high-quality podcasts for your audience. Be sure to check them out today at podcastvideos.com. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Pitch to Pro podcast. I'm your host, Wes Harris, Managing Director, Ozark United FC, Northwest Arkansas's professional soccer club playing in the United Soccer League. Everybody, I'm really excited about my guest today. It is our newly appointed director of our Ozark United FC MLS Next Academy, Coach Kevin Tello, coming to us live from Memphis. He's still wrapping things up and in Memphis as he makes his move out here to NWA. Coach, we got evals coming up next week. There's a whole lot of work to be done, and I know you're excited, and I'm ready to unpack it with you. But, you know, before we jump into all that and what this program means and what you guys are excited for, I just want everybody to get a chance to know you. So first of all, welcome. Thank you for joining me and making the time. Yeah. And, just give everybody a little bit of a, quick color on who you are and a little bit about your background.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm, of course, excited about Ozark United. About me, I'm a transplant like a lot of us. I'm originally from Los Angeles, California. My parents are both immigrants from Central America. We moved to Northwest Arkansas, I would say around 7th grade, 8th grade, somewhere around there. And that's actually where I started playing soccer, was with Silent Springs. What now is Silent Springs Soccer Club, FC, whatever they're calling it now. But I remember it was just me and a couple of my friends was kind of going all around Northwest Arkansas to play soccer. So played at Silent Springs High, was able to then go play at Washington Baptist University. As soon as I graduated with my undergrad, I moved back to Northwest Arkansas, kind of worked a couple, quote, normal jobs, and I knew that coaching was what I wanted to do. So then I started kind of this coaching journey. I became a volunteer at Conway High. I got my master's degree. And then it just kind of, just steamrolled. I volunteered at Hendricks. I got the head coaching job in Bologna. I met my wife, girlfriend at the time, fiance then, got on board with Colby and his staff as a volunteer. Then started National Park and then, have been here. It's been an exciting journey, but I think we're thankful to not only move back home, but move back home to a project that I'm very passionate about, which is youth soccer in Northwest Arkansas.
That's awesome. What a journey. Coming from LA to Arkansas. You spent a good chunk of your time here though, kind of growing up and getting to experience the growth that we've seen and I'm sure have also watched from afar as your time in Memphis. I'm sure you as like others, I feel like I go on vacation for a weekend and I come back and there's already 5 new things, but I'm sure it'd be even more pronounced for you.
Yeah, the freaking, what's the new highway to go to Siloam, right? Like all that constructions. I drove past, on 412 the other day and I was like, man, never seen this before. What the heck is going on? It's insane. It's insane how much everything's growing. And like you said, everything that's coming. And that's why, I'm excited. I'm excited about the growth that the area is experiencing. And, we want soccer to also grow along with the growth that we see from different aspects of Northwest Arkansas.
Absolutely. And we're definitely seeing it, man. The numbers are just, they speak for themselves in terms of just participation and, both at the club level, but importantly for me too, is at the grassroots level as well. And the littles and, the Parks and Rec programs are just, we're running out of space to put people and that's a good problem to have, but also, that's a whole other podcast on field space and why it's needed, why it's important, and let's keep up with the growth and all of the things. I think it's just a great story of just what is NWA right now and all the things that we're experiencing with the growth. But anyway, it's great to see as a former player, current coach and parent and all the things. So we're excited. But talk a little bit for me about the transition from player to coach. I think that's always an interesting one. That is really interesting to hear different people's perspectives and their journey from player to coach. So tell me a little bit about that.
I'd always knew, I wasn't the greatest player. I knew kind of pro wasn't in the cards for me, and I was just able to recognize that, I think, sooner than some people. Some people continue to chase their dreams, and obviously I could have continued to work, but I think I fell in love more with the thought of helping my teammates get better when I knew I wasn't, making a starting 11 or whatever. And, talking to some of the people that were my mentors as a player, that's what kind of drove me to make that decision from, hey, it's time to stop playing to now become a coach. And within coaching now, what are you passionate about within coaching? Is it the X's and O's? Is it the relationship side? Is it, everything else that comes in it? For me, it was really, I think that the strongest piece of it is I enjoy every team that I play with. I enjoy every player that I work with. And relationship side, right? I love my high school coach, and and I know he's going to watch this, and he changed my life, right? Same thing with my college coach. Same thing with my mentors that are coaching me as a coach. I think that's a side of what I value, and I see kind of as a legacy that I want to leave, for my kids and for everyone that I work with. Is he poured everything into me as a person, and we all stopped playing one day, as opposed to man, Coach Kevin gave me everything he had and we won a lot, but I don't know him as a person, and I don't feel like I can grow as a person with my time with him there.
No, it's super interesting. I think you hit on something that was really, I think is great to hear, and for them to understand. One, coaching is not a one size fits all. It's not a one skill set is all. It's just like any other job. There's so many different disciplines within the coaching sphere that, I think people kind of miss. They just think, oh, soccer coach. So dive a little deeper into that. What for people that are interested in maybe pursuing a career in coaching, or for people that are just interested in learning more, what are some of the different things that you've experienced or an organization? I know you got to get to a certain level, right? Where, there's different disciplines within coaching, but at those levels, what are some of the things that, a coaching staff divvies things up and how you guys work together and talk about that?
Yeah, I think I've been, blessed to work within a lot of staffs that we do a good job kind of divide and conquer with everything. Mm-hmm. When I was a head coach, and I know, a lot of people want that desire to be a head coach, I was in charge of doing everything, and I had a responsibility, and then I had to delegate to my assistants, and I had to be responsible of make sure that the assistants that I hire are able to do what I want them to do, whether it's from, video analysis standpoint or running a session or a specific unit group or whatever. For if you're talking now, just kind of everything that it entails for us here, right? Still say us because I'm still here for another couple of days. For us to run an NCAA program that makes, the NCAA tournament makes, trainings, which is the big meat of everything. But then within each training, what are we covering? What are the nines getting out of it? What is the goalkeepers getting out of it? And everything in between, right? Because yes, we want to win on Friday, Saturday, but how can we get there? And then from there, it just kind of, you reverse scaffold it. This is the big picture of, we want to win against whoever. How do we do that? And then it just kind of trickles down all the way down. We tell the guys, if we could control everything they do, 24 hours a day, we would, because we know how much it takes into it. For me, a big piece of what I do here, I do all of our video stuff, and I do a lot of I grab how we play game to game, training to training, then find a way to translate that into, this is what we need to work on offensively, this is what we need to work on defensively, But then outside of that, you're still navigating families, you're still navigating players because there's still people, budgets because they got to pay tuition, travel. We got to travel. We got to feed these guys, and we got to work with strength coaches, athletic trainers, academic people. It's a lot, right? And it's funny when guys see us at 2:00 in training and they're like, "Oh, coach, what'd you do today?" Like, I've been in the office since 7 and I haven't stopped. Like, if anything, I'm ready for training because I get to relax, right? Yeah. But there's a lot to it, and I think again that's another podcast too of like, what is a Division I program or what's a high level academy? What all do they cover?
It's a lot. It is a lot, and I know you're gonna bring that same energy and bring it into NWA here with Ozark United and the MLS Next program that we're developing here, and super excited to get started. I mean, evals are a week away, and man, you can the positive tension is like palpable, like it from players, families, like they're so excited, and it's an anxious tension to like get started. It's not a it's not a combative, like that's the wrong word, but you can just feel it, right?
Yeah.
The excitement is really, really, really cool to see. So I'm excited. I can't wait to see the turnout, and which I know is going to be massive. So it's great. Well, Coach, talk to me a little bit about what drew you to this opportunity. Like, why you're ascending, at a great D1 program in Memphis, developing your career there. Why kind of make this pivot and come back to NWA for Ozark United and the MLS Next program that we're working to build here?
Yeah. And, as I've gotten older, as I've continued on this career path, obviously I've had opportunities to, whether it's join MLS academies or go to a bigger Division I. I think what I've identified is the most important thing for me is my family, right? And then from there, I look at my family and it stands out, my community, right? I grew up in here, right? I grew up playing games at the rack, right? It's one of those things where I was talking to my wife, like I saw this, and a lot of people and a lot of my friends in Division I or just kind of the college world, like, man, why are you taking a step backwards? That's the other thing I told them. I was like, I don't think this is a step backwards because you don't know the potential that this has, right? And that's what I see. I was like, to me, this has so much potential. And that for me, this has more of a potential for me to impact more players, more families. And again, as we talk, I think that's the biggest thing that drove me is like, if I can just be a, imprint on one player, one family, and that's the player that goes pro, or that's a player that now, becomes another successful member of our community, and he's huge or whatever. I think that's, to me, the most important thing at this point in my career. It's, can I be close to my family? Can I continue to do the sport, do what I love within the sport? And can I leave an impact? And of course, before this call, we know like this is going to blow up. The potential that we have and the people that we have around this project are go-getters, right? And I find myself being the same way. I don't stop until kind of the problem is solved or identify the problem beforehand. How can we make this thing the next big thing? We're not going to go into, oh man, we just have MLS Next. Like, no, how can we excel and be the best, tier 2 MLS Next, and then jump into, tier 1 with the big boys, and then how can we be the best there? And that's, as my friends hear me talk about that, then gets them excited about like, oh man, okay, cool. Well, now definitely can, recruit some guys within kind of the way that you're talking about this and how excited and passionate you sound about it.
That's awesome. I think it's a great way to think about things and very refreshing for anyone in any career path, is to take a step back and identify to you what's important. And not just in your career, but important first and foremost outside of just your career. You're not defined by your career. Some people are, and that's what they choose, and that's fine. But being self-aware enough and confident in yourself to be able to take a step back for a second and talk about and think about what's important, and then that if that's the thing that's important to me, then how do I then coordinate that within my career pathing and journey and find an opportunity that allows me to, fulfill that and ensure that that's there. And so that's really, really cool and refreshing, man. And I'm just excited to hear that passion come from you and know that you're going to absolutely set these guys up for success, and the coaches and the program. So really excited. But talk a little bit more about the program and what does this mean if I'm a player in Northwest Arkansas? What does this mean for the game in Northwest Arkansas as a player?
Yeah, I think, the biggest thing, obviously, I've started talking to other MLS Next technical directors, whether it's within MLS Academy, they're kind of like us, non-affiliates. The biggest thing for me, obviously, growing up in the area, it's something different, right? It's something that's not around, right? There's other clubs, there's other things going on within the state that are super exciting, but this is setting itself apart because we want players that are committed, we want families that are committed. You want to have some sort of seriousness within club soccer, and that's why you're going to choose to come to our MLS Next program. For players, what they'll expect is, you're going to have coaches that are committed to you. Obviously, you can hear me talking about it. I'm committed to this program. I'm not kind of pulled away by different things. This is what I want to do. This is what I'm committed for. And we expect the same from our players and from our families. You'll get that exposure that I know a lot of Arkansas players struggle with, whether it's college or whether it's, making that jump into an MLS Academy. That's one of the biggest things that I want to work on is like, how can we get these players that exposure to then make the jump? We want people to know, man, Arkansas has good soccer players, and not just Arkansas general, but Northwest Arkansas, and then trickle down. Ozark United MLS Next programs had great soccer players. That's kind of what families, parents, players can expect with this MLS Next program.
That's awesome. I mean, there are some amazing players. We have a lot of talent here in Northwest Arkansas. And what's really exciting for me about this is being able to provide opportunities and having people like yourself involved with that passion to be able to help facilitate that and foster that environment and, continue to elevate the game is just what it's all about for me. And so that's really exciting for me personally, but also for the club. I mean, that's what we're here to do. We're here to elevate and grow the game and use the power of sport to make Northwest Arkansas a better place to live, work, and play. And part of that is allowing for growth of the game and elevation of the game within the area and providing opportunities to players. So, to fall in love with the game and continue to pursue their journey, whatever level that may be. So
yeah, exactly. So if it's JUCO, if it ends with us, but we gave them the best experience, if it's Division I, if it's pro, but they know they had the best experience possible within our MLS Next structure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you talked a little bit about it, but what are coaches looking for in players? So we talked a little bit about what it means, right? Opportunity, a certain level and commitment expectation, but like, what are you looking for in players? And I think you kind of see this too. You've coached at a bunch of different levels. What in your mind separates a good from a great player?
So I've had the privilege of coaching, two MLS draft picks. They developed through us, and then they decided they wanted a different experience for their senior year, and that ended up changing, right? But we still developed them to become that All-American player. And you could tell, right? When I got here, I could tell those players are special, right? Or our guys are now they're playing pro. We could tell those guys are a little bit different. I think the biggest thing, obviously they're technically good enough, they're athletically good enough, but it's the way that they approach the game that's different. It's the way that they come into training. It's the way that they train, not necessarily that they have the best training or that they have the best technique. It's how intense are they seeing this activity? If it's a passing pattern that's unopposed, they are still trying to do it at the best of their ability, and they're pushing their teammates to do it at the best of their ability. And those are little things that, we see when you're talking now from a Division I coach going out to recruit. You'll see them go and set up their chairs early to watch warm-up. How is a player doing warm-up? You'll see a lot of them stay after. How do they shake hands? How do they approach the opposing team? Those are the little things that coaches now are starting to look at, because culture is such a big part of, not when you talk about, obviously in the pro level, you're selling players and you have a new roster every now and then, but in the transfer portal within Division I, culture is such a big part of it. The other thing that, is the new trend of when we look at players is their decision-making good, right? Is their decision-making the best for that specific situation, right? Again, you could look at a player that's incredibly athletic, incredibly gifted, but if his decisions are wrong, it doesn't matter. But then it takes a coach to kind of come in and bring that out of them. And that's what we're going to look at in training in tryouts, right? It's like these players that we might not know, that we maybe don't have the best, information on before tryouts, but man, that player is really good with his decision making. I can see what he's thinking, right? He might not have gotten it off, but I can tell his mind is working in the right way. He has a decent soccer IQ. I think that's the biggest thing, right?
Or it does come off and you're like,
yeah,
at a different level, that's not going to work. And if you're not seeing, like, if that's happening consistently, you're like, okay, that's something if we do take him, we're going to have to work on, or, maybe that separates him from a different player and so on. So I tell people all the time, technical can be taught, physicality, like, you've got the body you've got, you can bulk up, slim down, get faster, all those things, hard work. But the biggest thing for me that is, I don't know, and people may disagree, but soccer is all about decision making.
I would 100% agree, because like for us this spring, we brought in a lot of transfers and we decided to go a different way. We went NAI, Chico D2. That's just our philosophy, just went that way, trended that way. These guys do a lot of great things at the current level. Is that going to translate now? Right? So player that could dribble 6 people and get out of it and create these incredible Ronaldinho, is that going to translate for us? Or, man, how can I tweak his strengths to work now within what we're trying to do, right? And then you get into a whole different conversation of IDPs and all that stuff, which again would be a different podcast. But you're right. That was a good decision in that scenario, but will that pan out at the next level?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Okay, so what are you looking for in your players to be a part of this program? What advice do you have for them or their families? I mean, some of these players, right, are coming in at, we have all the way down to U13, right? So, could be 12 years old, a really crazy standout 11-year-old, right? All the way up until these guys are potentially just graduated high school, and or are looking for that next step. So that's a big range. What can you talk about in terms of what you're looking for players and advice for them and their families?
Yeah, within tryouts, I think all the staffs that we're going to have out there, we're looking for the intensity, the intensity of the movements, the intensity of the actions. If they're kind of just going through the flow and they think this is just another club tryout, it's not, right? We want to be the premier youth soccer organization in the state. So it's one of those things where we want them to be intense with everything that they do. And that's okay. It's okay if you miss a shot and you shrink it 60 yards wide, that's fine. But are you doing it at speed, game realistic? This is like, I was talking to someone, this is for them. If Sporting Kansas City was here watching your eval, how would you react? How would you respond? We tell our guys here, if we call National SC to come watch the training, how would you train today? Right? And that's the mentality that we want them to have every single day in training.
Every single day. That's exactly right. So, okay. Well, Coach, man, I'm so excited to get you out here, and can't wait for evals next week and even the following week. I know it's like kind of weeks spread over. It's going to be really, really exciting to see, and just wanted to ask you if there's anything that you're looking forward to that, we haven't already covered. I mean, we covered a lot, but if there's anything that, you're just excited to come back to NWA.
Man, I'm excited, honestly, to be back home, but I think I'm excited about, the first team. I've been giving these players a true pathway to kind of see that, like you said, opportunities. I look at other USL championships and kind of the way that they run their academies. Like, it'd be cool if one day, we do sign this kid to a homegrown contract, or, okay, he's training with the first team in the mornings or whatever. Like, again, to me, that's what excites me, is like the potential of what this could become. When I was a player, and I know I've talked to other coaches that have grown up in the area, like, man, we would have killed for something like this, right? And that's again, going back to what we want these players to know. It's like, this is an exciting opportunity. This is something that's huge. It's not just, oh man, whatever. Like, no, this is going to be massive, right? So that's what we're excited about.
Us as well. And I think that that's really going to be, it's already blowing up, right? But I think that like, people are, visceral. They see and, believe in all those things. And we've got a ton of momentum, and we're doing all the right things for the right reasons and continue to go on the project. But once it's here, that's when it'll change for folks that are kind of, excited, but kind of maybe in the back of their heads, right? Especially as players, that being able to see it right in your backyard, I think is going to be another step changing moment, that makes it real for everybody. Right. And just unlocks a whole other level of excitement, passion, to be able to see that you have this pathway right here in Northwest Arkansas, whether it's there or to help you get to your other journey, but having that to facilitate it, that pathway is just going to be game changing for soccer in the area. So I'm with you. Can't wait. And the first kickoff is going to be just crazy emotional, just so that it's here, for the area, and all the hard work and the years spent doing it will be worth it. But Kevin, thank you so much for joining me, man. I think we're going to call it for today. I'm sure we'll have you back on. I guarantee it. There's so much to talk about, and can't thank you enough for believing in our program and in the project, and just welcome aboard. Welcome to OZFC, man. We're just excited to get started.
Yeah, I'm thankful for the opportunity. I'm excited to work with the players and kind of try to help them, like you said, along their journey. That's the biggest thing. It's how can everything that I have, so I kind of want to just regurgitate it out, right? And give it to all the family, and how can I help? That's my biggest thing. So how can I help?
I love that. Well, that's it for this episode of Pitch to Pro. We hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to catch all of our episodes on pitchtopro.com, or look for Pitch to Pro on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts for more content. Until next time, Northwest Arkansas, cheers.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Pitch to Pro podcast. Be sure to tune in again in 2 weeks for the next installment, and check out the Stoppage Time series for a recap of today's episode. Be sure to find us at Pitch to Pro on YouTube, Instagram, and everywhere you get your podcasts. Until next time, Northwest Arkansas, cheers.